No. And, I guess he saw Milk, but Malik. But then one day he called me. It was obvious to everybody in the firm that he just didn't want to say it right. Because why is it your name John or Henry or
David?
Yeah. He said one day he called me Malox.
Wow.
He just didn't want to use your name.
And even the people who were there, who I knew kind of maybe didn't care for my presence being there, even they was like, now come on. They even look like. But anyway, I digress. Welcome to Conversations with Malik podcast, and we are here once again, coming to you from Long Island, New York. I'm glad to have you, and thank you all who listen and watch this show.
That's right.
And listen, thanks for everybody for all of your support, everybody who makes the show possible. I want to thank Kareem the Dream Raheem for all of his great engineering work.
That's right.
Justin Moss. Listen, I also newly want to thank Eddie Box. Eddie Box been sending us a lot from out of Philly. Been sending us a lot of people to interview.
That's right.
Thank you for sending over your clients. Yvonne Diva Dash, Hannah Glinsky.
That's right. Kareem the Dream.
Yeah, Audrey Reyes and Trina Clarkson for AC for Inmates. Another Chance Media. Justin Moss, social media guru, does all the great work.
That's right.
With the website and the designs. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So just to name a few, if there's anybody I left out who helps out with the show or have sent guests or any PR people, I apologize, but we love you.
That's right.
We love you. And Happy New Year and many blessings with 2020. We're having some 2020 vision this year. That's the theme of this year.
Yes, sir.
And so listen, how you doing, Jeff Jones?
Beautiful day, man. Woke up with hearts beating.
Mine's too. Well, obviously your heart's beating because you're here.
That's right.
And listen, we've been working a lot lately.
Yes, sir.
And I'm always happy and blessed whenever anybody wants to come on the show. And I'm glad that we have a platform for people to come on to talk about all of the wonderful things that are going on in the community. There's something else that's wonderful going on. Professor Marcia Mcnair, Long Island Girls Talk.
That's right.
Bold Minds with Soleil.
That's right.
So we got them in the house. Yay!
That's right.
Nassau Community College. We're going to talk some Sisters on Fire.
Yeah.
Dope play. Remember I told you I went.
Yes.
Tracy went.
I want to go too.
And Tracy and Yaya. It was up close and personal.
Nice.
It was right there experience. So now they're going to be at Nassau Community College. And so people could come out and they're going to get more and explain more about that. So I'm just going to, you're new, so I want to say hello to you and welcome.
Hi,
welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming to our humble abode.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for having me.
And Professor Mcnair, how are you?
I am fine and happy to be back.
Yes. Happy.
Nice.
We had a great interview last time.
Oh, we did. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoy talking to intelligent African American men.
I'm intelligent.
I'll find a whole lot of them.
I had a guest called you that before. Intelligent.
Yeah, and so there's been a lot going on since I know you live a busy life like us all. What's been going on since you were last here?
Well, since I was last here, I was made the acting chair of Africana Studies at Nassau Community College.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey. This is what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, I was able to broker bringing Sisters on Fire to Nassau Community College.
Nice.
We're doing a student production. It's all students.
Okay.
And our director, Jason Williams, actually started with the play when we began it about 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
Now he's the director. Mm-hmm. And he's multi-talented. He has written new music for it. He's done choreography. And we have updated the script quite a bit. Because as you know, the world has changed in 10 years.
Right.
in many ways not for the better. And so we have a whole new set of social injustices that we're talking about in the play.
Gotcha.
You saw the play.
I saw the play.
What did you think about the production at the East Village Playhouse?
I love settings like that. I'm familiar with the small, in your face, right there on you. Like if they were to spit, you might feel a particle, right? So it's really that close. And I actually, the place where it was at, it was exciting. It was a lot of energy. I felt the passion. And I left out of there like, yeah, let's go get something to eat and let's talk about the play.
Nice.
Yeah. And they talked about issues, Jeff. They talked about social issues, women issues. It was right on point. They were passionate, and the people got to sit, and they're in front of you, and they have to memorize their lines. Like there's no way out of this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was a lot of work and hard work put into this.
And they went right to the back and change and come back out. Thumbs up, big time.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, theater. I didn't realize that when I first wrote the play. It's really a collaborative effort between the writer, the director, the choreographer, the musical director, the actresses, the producers. I think the reason why Black theater has had difficulty getting off of the ground because it is a very expensive proposition to do a play. It's a testimony to the play that we have stuck with it this long. I mean, it has been 10 years.
Wow.
We didn't give up on it, but again, you really need that financial backing to get to off-Broadway. We were off-Broadway at the East Village Playhouse, but to move it even further, which I really feel it deserves to be, we really need a lot of investors, a big-time producer. But I'm hoping that this production at Nassau Community College will be a sort of showcase for the play. And so we are inviting people who might be interested in investing and or producing a professional production.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea because all that stuff counts, even when it's in a small venue. It does count because there are eyes that's there looking, and I'm sure your mission is also to open doors for the actors that's involved in there. Because keep in mind, they may not pick up the play, but they might spot an actor or an actress. And who knows where that could go.
We've got some real talented young women in this play. All of them can sing. I know, I was at the auditions, and it's amazing. Yeah, they all can sing, they all can act, and like you said, this is really an opportunity for them to shine, and possibly it will take them somewhere. You know, when we first did Sisters on Fire, I don't know if you've heard of Yamanika Saunders at all. She's been on Laugh Track. She's a great comedian. She was co-host on the Marilyn Vieira show on NBC for a while. But Yamanika actually started with Sisters on Fire. She was in a production of our play. Also, Erica Faye Watson, who is a comedian who has been on the Dr. Phil show, has been on a number of places, and you know, is out in Chicago now, and we're talking about doing a Sisters on Fire out in Chicago. Under her leadership. They all started, you know, with this play, or were actually in this play. I wouldn't say they started with it, but they were in this play, and they've gone on to achieve great things. So that's what I am also hoping for all of my students.
And I don't know if you know, Marcia, but my background is partially theater production.
Is it
It
really?
is,
Yeah,
yes.
productions. Oh,
Yeah,
No.
so that's why I'm so used to being behind the scenes. Yeah. So just recently, 2017, theater opens up a lot of doors. So once somebody get into theater, you're gonna master being on screen because it's like you said, you're right there. So you gotta know your script, you gotta know your lines, everything. You gotta know everything. So it opened the doors for me to get into film production. That's why I was able in 2017 to work with TV1 and Altice on that project when I was working in the schools. So yeah, theater definitely opens up a lot of doors. Yeah.
You know, you are the most modest person I have ever met. This woman is she's like a Renaissance woman, but she never tells you anything. You have to mention something and she says, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah, by the way,
Oh yeah, I have experience in that. And you
That's
know.
why I want to bring it to Bold Minds and, Long Island Girl Talk because that's like my film is like my burning passion now. Yeah, and it's because I just got a little taste of it and then it just opened up like, I need to transition into this. So yeah, I'm in the middle of transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've owned your own business too. She doesn't mention that she owned her own business.
Okay, well let's get into some
We honored her. Every year we have an award ceremony for women of vision in the community.
Nice.
And Soledad was the winner of our Visionary Community Service Award this year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Soledad.
it was wonderful. That was a wonderful event. I'm extremely honored by that. And, a lot of what I'm doing now, especially with Bold Minds, just could not have been possible without Marcia.
Oh, tell us,
Please.
Tell us about Bold Minds because when you know how when you hear a name and then from the meaning of the name you know like it's some serious stuff, some serious people. Talk to me about Bold Minds.
Yes, so Bold Minds is a youth organization. It's a mentorship program for young men and young women, and we're giving them the opportunity to dive into their skill set in a creative way. Okay. And we're giving them the opportunity to get into music engineering, which is something that I did last summer, book club. We also did VR, virtual reality film. So that's like a whole nother level. We went to a museum in Manhattan where they were able to put on those Google glasses to get that experience because a lot of them, they're into video gaming and just in November, we went with Long Island Girl Talk to VR World in Manhattan to give them that experience. So because a lot of them are into video gaming and to let them know there's more you can do behind that. You could create it. So getting them to think that, okay, not only can I play this, I can also create it as well.
You could be on the creative side of it and not just a consumer.
Absolutely. So
sparking that entrepreneur
all
genius.
all the way. And it's just giving them a different avenue of careers, different from what they're used to every day, that they could see behind the scenes and just get their hands into a lot of different things. For me, I personally believe in you don't just stick to one thing, especially if you're into something, yes, but you get involved in other activities so you could know what you're really about, so you could know what you're into. And this gives them the opportunity. A lot of them, this is one young lady who's in high school, she wants to be a pediatrician, right? Okay. But I see she's going to be great, right? That's what she wants to do, But I want her to tap into her creative side as well. You could still be a doctor and still have that creativity.
Yes, I agree.
Because there's a lot of doctors, if you talk to them now, they get so tired and they feel they get tired of their work because they don't have any other outlets, and having something else that you're looking forward to will help you be an even better person in your career.
Yes.
So it's just...
Let me just, and really, that's why I'm doing this. Because let me tell you something. Every day started feeling like Groundhog's Day. And I was wondering, and I was like, listen, God, I appreciate the blessings.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving me the spirit of entrepreneurship.
That's right.
And helping me to be a creator and a leader. And, I have the name Malik. Malik means king. I'm a leader. I live up to my name. Okay, so I get it, right? Yes. I said, but God, it's becoming a little redundant. I need something to kind of and so this is what the podcast does.
That's right.
And then as I started talking to other people who are successful in their own right, in their fields,
Right.
most of them have something else that
They-
they do.
That's true.
And then it kind of helps you when you go to the other, you've gotten a break from one.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. And that's like my life right there. And I was a teacher, and where I messed up, and I love I'm looking at Marcia, and I love what she's a professor, and she also has Long Island Girl Talk, right? So she has this job at Nassau Community College, and she's embracing her creativity,
Which is a lot, by the
And
way, being
it
a
is.
professor. I mean,
And
that's
I'm a
that's-
writer.
that's-
Yes, and writer, first writer. Exactly. Where I messed up at was like, okay, I'm going to be a teacher, and that's it. First, I was doing PR, not knowing that it was PR, and I loved it. And I said, I want to get my master's, so let me go into teaching. So I became a teacher, and I stopped doing all of that. And it killed me. My creativity was only for the classroom, but then you're limited to what you
Yes.
can do.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
right, definitely.
You're completely
Right.
limited. So I broke out of that, and then once I broke out of the classroom, it just gave me the opportunity to I could impact even more young people doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
So both Minds is MYNDS, and it's an acronym for maximizing youth's mobility, drive, and success. So when we talk about success, we're not talking about comparing yourself to other people. There's like a pledge that we say. One of them is I determine what success looks to me. So it's
I love the acronym,
yeah. Maximizing the youth to become noble, driven, and successful.
Yeah. J. Cole, and I guess he's considered a conscious rapper.
Yeah.
He made a record called "Love Yours," right?
And he had it spelled out.
But not only that,
Right.
in the record, he's talking about there's always gonna be somebody with a bigger house than the one you got. There's always going to be somebody with a better car than the one you drive. There's always going to be somebody that has more money than you, or with a prettier girl, or with a love yours.
Yes,
That's right.
Yes,
That's
that's
it.
a great
Love what you
sentiment.
have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have the best house
Yeah, there you go.
in the United States of America. Why? Because it's the one I live in.
Yeah. And it's home. And it's home.
That's
Right.
And this is what I experience. So it's the best.
That's right. That's right.
Like,
That's it.
and I try not to really, and thanks for saying you teach them not to compare themselves to other people, because I really try to compare myself to Malik. And just, where were you 10 years ago?
That's it.
And have you made progress?
Right.
Because life ebbs and flows. There's people who were, I guess my mother was like, why you not doing as well as so-and-so when we was in our 20s?
Of course.
But now in our 40s, he's kind of not even on my radar. I mean, if you want to judge by where people
That's right.
are.
And yet at the time, you were very focused on that individual, not realizing that as you grew and developed as a person, that would all fade away. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the young people today don't realize that. They actually make these relationships they have in social media and in school like a priority that kind of determines their how they feel.
The course of their existence.
Yeah.
I'm constantly advising them. It might seem like this is the end of the world now, but trust me, because I'm 62 now. You will look back on
Right?
some of this stuff and
Absolutely.
laugh.
Laugh.
And I am
Some of the
having a
people.
ball. Right.
Yeah.
I at people who bullied me, people who cheated on me, friends
That's
who
real.
betrayed me.
Talk about it.
I
Yeah.
now look back and believe it or not, I actually find it funny. I find it amusing. It doesn't hurt me
Right.
anymore. So you can't really let those experiences determine, as I say, you can't let that determine your destiny, right? You can't let that change your behavior, because it in the long run, it really will not matter.
But for young women and girls, and kind of segueing into Long Island Girls Talk, I find that a lot of young women are really engulfed in what's going on with the guys,
Oh yeah, yeah.
social media, having breast and butt, and showing themselves, and you know what their mama gave them, right? You know, the designer clothes, and how they look on Instagram, the selfies, they are really, really. What are you guys doing over at Long Island Girls Talk to try to, first of all, tell me about Long Island Girls Talk, and then what is the goal and objective, and what do you guys do to kind of break the young sisters away from those things?
Well, first, we were founded in 2013, so we've been around for quite some time.
Okay.
And it was really a response that I and a friend, and that friend still is somewhat involved with the organization, but we were just, how can I say it? We could not believe the Academy Awards that year, and that so few people of color were honored. I don't remember exactly everything that happened at the Academy Awards in 2013, but there was a definite lack of diversity, and people were talking about it.
Okay.
And instead of complaining, and this is how I've always been, instead of complaining, I say to myself, what can I do? How can I make a difference? Because complaining isn't going to change anything.
No doubt.
So my friend and I said, why don't we just get some girls together and start talking to them about the broadcasting industry, the film industry, the television industry. Took us a little while to come up with the idea of Long Island Girl Talk, but I also had experience as a co-host on a public access television show called Cafe Long Island. And ultimately, it just all came together, and we said, why not develop a program that teaches girls how to create their own television show?
Nice.
In that way, we can acquaint them with the film industry, and whether or not they go into the film industry, they will become more thoughtful consumers of media. You know, it's the idea that this generation is producing media anyway, but they're not really doing it in a thoughtful way. And so when I say producing media, I'm talking about YouTube, all kind of video that they post on Facebook, etc. So even if our girls don't choose a career in media, so to speak, they will have the tools to be more thoughtful about the kind of content that they are creating.
Gotcha.
Right? And even if they don't create content, when they see content, they will have a much more critical eye.
Gotcha.
And I think that's especially important for girls, because studies have shown that the amount of television that boys watch and girls watch really dovetails with self-esteem.
Wow.
Meaning that the more hours of television that boys watch, their self-esteem goes up. But the more hours of television that girls watch, it goes down.
Wow.
And yes, and that study was done at the University of Indiana. And so...
Is it because of how girls are portrayed?
Yes. I would say so. I didn't read the entire study, but I would think so.
I would think so too.
Right, for what you were saying about the kinds of images they see, the women they see, right, they compare themselves to what they see on television.
And they see what the guys are attracted to,
right,
more so than the other side of being who you truly are. Which
they
is
don't have models of women in leadership roles. That's changing slightly. We have more television shows even with Scandal, where we have an African American lawyer and so forth. But at that time, no really powerful female role models.
Gotcha.
And when they do see images of themselves, it's more stereotyped.
Or scandalous. She's
Right.
cheating on him with another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're scantily clad. They've even done studies where they found that for Hispanic women, typically the Hispanic women will be in very tight clothing. The next time you're watching television, check that out. And when I read that, I started watching for that, and I noticed, they're Hispanic women are even portrayed as much more sexual,
Yes.
and they're wearing very tight
Yes.
clothing.
Yes. I mean, even though Latinas have a sense of, they have a sexuality about them.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. But
not all of
But
them.
in general, and I'm not even saying it in like, there's this sister who I buy buses from, and Juliana, and she has a way with her, but it isn't like she's not throwing herself at men or anything. She just, I don't know, she just has a way with her. And when I go to those countries, I just always felt that about Latinas, and maybe I need to think about my perspective on that, but I've kind of felt that in general about them, that them as a people, even the Hispanic guys who come and do deliveries or whatever, they are a little more friendlier with the women, women there than like the African American guy that comes in, but
Okay,
yes,
Malik,
TV.
I have to stop
You have to, okay, no
because
problem.
you might be more sensitive to that
Okay,
because of the social conditioning that we all go through.
okay.
I would
That could be
say
true.
in 30 years of teaching, I've only met that stereotypical Latina one time. The rest of my young women of Hispanic heritage, very shy. Some of them have extremely low self-esteem.
Okay.
They're, if you would say, what do they look like? Look like a school teacher. I encourage many of them to go into teaching.
Gotcha.
You've got the look.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Very studious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think sometimes.
But you're referring to the students. I'm talking about like adults.
Well, my students are, in college now, we have a lot of non-traditional students. So I wouldn't say that I am always working with an 18-year-old. In fact, I'm working with a lot of women who have been in the workforce for many, many years and have decided that they want to go back to school because they've been pigeonholed into a certain type of job. They either want to switch careers or they want to be eligible for promotion. So I'm talking about older women as well.
Okay.
So
I've always got that. But you know what? I can think another thought, and I'm open to enlightenment.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I tend to think that I think every group of people has certain kind of traits that broadly, it doesn't apply to everybody, but it's like, hey, that set of people is kind of more like this, right? But I will re-examine, and I will look at it from a fresh set of eyes. And then as far as the media, maybe the people who are behind the scenes in these media outlets, maybe they only kind of pigeonhole people inside
You got it. Exactly.
ideas and
You got it.
concepts. So I'm going to watch that.
Yes.
The different types of actors on TV and how they set them up. But I can see where you're talking about as far as TV being empowering for men.
I could see that totally.
And not as empowering for women as a whole. BET has some more shows that I've been noticing that it's kind of showing sisters in a more corporate setting.
A lot of the television networks are actually now doing a lot of stuff that's promoting, women. I think now is really the time you seeing, just like you mentioned, back then it wasn't really like that.
Right.
You know, when it comes to like women empowerment, is a real big deal now.
Yeah, because in television you have to show the driving force behind a lot of what's going on in the community or in just in the world. Period. A lot of women they have a voice, and not only that, they are innately able to carry out what is being said. You know, whatever they say, they do. So there's a lot of power in that. So the media have to show that. So, you know, and the only way you could, you know, to get these young girls to follow that path is to show them these are the type of people, you know, who are in power that you can be like too. In Bold Minds, the acronym nobility, you know, being noble, you know, we asked them, what does that mean to you? You know, who, you know, what does being noble? A lot of them didn't know. Then when they were thinking about it, they thought of Martin Luther King. They thought of Michelle Obama. Then I was like, think a little deeper, you know, and then they started thinking of their family, like one of them, their father. They feel like their father's their hero, their mom, you know. So we try to make it more personal because sometimes they look at the screen, it's like they can't touch it, it's untouchable, I can't get to that level. And then now to flip it where you can build that noble character, you can become within, absolutely, you can be that person where you are, you know, you step into that room and then they could see that there's something different about you, you're not like everybody else, and there's a lot of power in that, you know. So it's just showing them, you know, with Long Island Girl Talk, we bring in people to speak about self-empowerment, talk about who you are. You know, they did a poem, absolutely. They did a poem titled "I Am." You know, and surprisingly, some of them had a hard time to writing out "I am." You know, but we had to dig deep. Like, who are you? What do you like to do? Right? And then there's some of them it just flowed. Like, you know, I am a big sister. I am smart. I am intelligent. I am the pediatrician. I am already speaking it now. You know, already speak. So you know that you could become that. You know, you can be that person that you could see within, and that what you see on TV is not just for those people because they're special. You are special as well. So it's that empowerment that we flip it where it's in you as well. So yeah, so we're teaching these women, you know, these young girls that, you know, it's more than just the Instagram life. You can't become that. Because you're going to be very miserable, you know, because that's social media is their life. It's their life, and it's not going anywhere. No matter how much we want to, like, you know, dumb it down and take it away, it's gonna be there. There's gonna be even more access, you know.
It's actually growing, actually.
It absolutely it is.
There's gonna be TV soon. Instagram is gonna be TV.
It's gonna be television,
Facebook. All the TV and all that stuff is changing as you know it.
And you show them how to deal with it. You know how to listen. Don't compare yourself to that person, or you could see, you know, the shift in how they're looking at it now. Okay, that's just superficial. You know, let me build, because what's inside of me is what's gonna last and what's gonna take me more places than I'm trying to act like this person. You know, matter of fact, like a few months ago, I got a particular young lady who I've mentored for a very long time, and you look at her, she looks like the Instagram model. She looks like, you know, she's 20, she's turning 22 this year, and I don't have to tell her about herself. There's something, and as a mentor, you know, there's certain, you know, there's a way to approach every young lady. You know, there's something you got to be subtle about it. There's something like, all right, let me tell you, because you're moving a little too fast, you know, and I had to go there with her. I'm like, you looking at these music videos thinking that you're one of those girls, but look at your situation. You're not like them. You know, I had to, like, bring her to reality, you know, like, you're out here, you know, saying you want this guy in between your legs and you putting that on social media, like, who are you? You know, and it's like, and I'm telling her this, when you post it, that stuff don't go away. You know, and you're here in the prime, you know, you're looking for jobs, and you know, you're trying to get into these careers.
They gotta think about the employment. Like, people watch that stuff.
And you can go back in a race, but you don't know who saved you.
You don't know who saved you.
You don't know who took up.
And even now, when you in the professional world, you got to think about even what you comment on. sometimes.
Yes.
Right.
And people don't even think about
Yes.
that, especially
Yes.
youth today. They don't.
Because what you gonna go back and erase your comments?
Right. You're not gonna remember. You're not gonna remember. Let's take Kevin Hart for example. When he spoke about gays years ago, right? This was 2010 when he made that
Right.
comment. You know, his he explained he was in a different mindset at that time,
Yeah.
and he evolved over time, and we can
Right.
see that he has, right?
Right.
But then somebody like him, they're taking that tweet,
Yeah.
Right, it
using
came
it
back to
against
haunt
him,
him.
and he had to
And you
lose a
black,
couple of
and you making money.
yeah,
That's it.
you have to lose some opportunities, and that's Kevin Hart. So look at the regular girl, that's a job opportunity you probably need to feed your family. And they see
Exactly.
that, they see the type of person you are, and it's like, if she want to get into that, the entrepreneurial realm and, do her thing, that's different. But, just getting your mind right, getting your, just being different.
How do y'all feel about, it's on subject, but we're talking about young women. How do y'all feel about R. Kelly and what he was doing with these young sisters? Have you followed it any?
I have followed it, and I think part of what we're trying to do with Long Island Girl Talk, and the reason why Bold Minds is just like a perfect partner for us, and we don't partner with just everyone.
Right.
Right.
Is the idea that if you have high self-esteem, you will be less subject to becoming a victim of someone like R. Kelly. And what I noticed in each of those cases is that the women had very low self-esteem. They were, it's an old school saying, looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right.
And even parents sometimes are not aware. They might be building up the esteem of their young daughter at home, but they're not aware of what's going on when they're going out in school, when they're out socially, and how damaging some of that can be.
But don't you believe sometimes, like, perhaps even some of these these children could be in dysfunctional homes?
Yes, they
You
can,
know?
but sometimes they're not. I mean, if you look at some of the parents, they're hardworking parents.
seems
They
so.
love their daughters, but as a parent, I know there were things my sons weren't telling me,
Right.
didn't tell me, so that I couldn't really counteract it.
Yeah.
I'm finding out things now, and one's in late 20s and the other's in his 30s, and I'm like, why didn't you tell me that happened in junior high school? So and I know, when I was younger, I didn't share everything with my mother. I didn't want her to feel sad. And sometimes I hid my own sadness, because I didn't want my mom to feel sad. She was a struggling single mother, and she had enough on her plate, and I didn't want to add to it.
Right.
So I think sometimes parents are just unaware of what their girls are going to.
Right.
But I think as a society in general, we also have a responsibility. And that responsibility is not to promote these stereotypes of women to such an extent that it becomes internalized and it changes people's behavior. And so that girl, let's say, who was a nerd and did like to read and did like to study, when she is confronted with a world that just celebrates physical beauty, she begins to change herself.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in the pursuit of that can get into some very dangerous activities and be, subject to relationships with dangerous people.
Yes.
We also tend to, we're a very materialistic society.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, many women have been taught to judge men by their material possessions.
Right.
So again, that makes an R. Kelly more attractive. We want to tell our girls, look, don't judge a book by its cover or by what's in his pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
right? That's a real issue
Yeah.
for our women, but the society, that's the messaging that women get in society.
Yeah.
And so I think it's not just about building self-esteem for women, but also women have to take a hard look at themselves and say, am I judging this individual by his bank account? Would I have been so crazy about R. Kelly if he was flat broke?
Right.
And I don't think so.
Right.
You know, I honestly don't think so.
Right.
So we as women, we're doing work to break certain stereotypes we have, right, of men. You know, and
Gotcha.
as a mother of sons, I'm actually glad I had only boys because, you know, I've always been a feminist, but having sons, it kind of forced me
Gotcha.
to look at another point of view.
Right.
Gotcha.
And what I saw is my sons, you know, saying, oh, I don't have enough money to take her out, and she wants me to buy this or that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Watch it.
Yeah.
Is that person really interested in you?
Right.
Or what
Right.
you can do for her?
Gotcha.
Let's,
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
let's talk about this. But then I started to see, yeah, this is the what men have to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Martin Luther King said, judge a man by the content of his character. I say that to my boys, not just in terms of race, but just in terms of as a life principle in general,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Don't judge a woman by her physical appearance. Judge her by the content of her character. And you want a woman who's also judging you for the content of your character, and not for the car you're driving, where you live at, what kind of clothes you have on, because men are also going through that now too.
Yeah. Yeah. They are.
Yeah.
They
You
are.
know, my boy is saying, you know, at 8 years old, my youngest saying, I want a 6-pack. And I'm like, you can't drink. And he said, no, Mom, 6-pack. I always remember that because I thought he was talking about a beer.
Right.
He's talking about
But
your
at 8
dad.
years
Yeah.
old, and I said, oh my gosh, now the objectification that women have always gone through, now men are going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men, I said, this is
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. It's social media.
Yeah.
Social media.
You have quick access to see. Yeah.
And everybody wants to. It's amazing how, and I'm not being judgmental, but people appear to be doing much better on
Right.
social media than they are in their real
Yeah.
life. Because you see them and you're like,
Yeah. That's a fact.
You're right.
That's a fact.
100%.
so, what do we have coming up? We got the play coming up.
Yes, we do.
January 24th, 26th, Nassau Community College, so the dates, 24th through the 26th. And then January 29th to February 2nd. So that's what, 2 weekends.
Yes, 2 weekends.
I would suggest you go see it.
Nassau Community College.
And I like this logo too, by the way.
I like it.
Like the
Sisters
the,
on
the,
fire.
the head
Yeah.
and the sister on fire. At first it kind of scared me. I was like, should I go see this? Sisters on fire.
Yeah.
I might go there and get cursed out.
This is dope.
But no, this is really nice, and
I'm excited.
the logo's
How
powerful.
can they purchase tickets? It's on here as well, right?
Yes.
It's $10.
$10.
You,
a ticket.
right, and if you are an alumni of Nassau Community College, a senior, if you're employed by Nassau Community College, it is only $8.
Okay.
This is Nassau Community College in general has a great theater department, and I go see all of the productions because, as we know now, Broadway you're going for like what $200 a pop
Oh,
in
yeah.
many
No doubt.
cases.
Easy.
You can see quality theater at Nassau Community College for, and I'm a senior. You have to pay $2 more. You can see it for $10. And they do musical productions, straight dramas. So for Sisters on Fire, to be able to see that for $10, that's pretty incredible, and it's a nice theater. Tickets are available in advance, but I would say people should remember that if you buy tickets at the door, it's cash only.
Okay.
All right, real important, because I know sometimes I go places and I don't have any cash.
Right.
So, and we don't have an ATM in that lobby. So, if you were buying at the door, make sure you have cash. But if you call the box office, Malik, what's the number for the box office?
The
there?
box office number is 516-572-7676, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., except college holidays. So that means Martin Luther King, you can't hit them up.
Right.
Next Monday.
Right. But they'll take credit cards if you call the box office.
Sisters on Fire.
And so, what else is coming up for Bold Minds?
We're starting the next session in February and also March. We're gonna do it every Wednesday and every other Saturday.
Every Wednesday, every other Saturday. At Nassau.
At Nassau.
Okay,
Yes.
so is it a thing where anybody can come
Yes,
join?
anyone. We have young men and young boys.
Ages,
and middle school and up.
middle school and up. Okay.
Middle school and up. Yeah. So, but we have right now for the boys, the oldest is in high school.
Okay.
So 11th grade. So yeah, we will take them all.
What's the youngest?
The youngest is 11 years old in middle school, 6th grade. Yeah, 6th grade.
Okay, so you want
Yeah,
them,
6th grade.
is there like an age range or?
No. Starting in middle school.
Okay, starting in
Yeah.
middle school.
Now here's the thing. If let's say a member of Bold Minds have a sibling who is in 5th grade, we'll take their sibling too.
Okay,
Okay.
We'll take their sibling too. Yeah.
okay. And so,
Bold Minds.
Sister Soledad, what else do you have that about you that you haven't told us? 'Cause you know, did you
I feel like
Great
this is some
question.
Did you create a rocket ship that like went around
Great
with
question.
Saturn's rings or anything? Anything you just want to tell us great that you've done? Oh yeah, by the way,
So I started my own PR firm in 2016. 2015.
okay,
And I'm transitioning from that. So when I left teaching because I went into public relations.
nice.
And that's when I started my firm. I had a lot of clients. I had a chef who was on the Food Network. I worked with Cardi B's DJ. Got a lot of them on Fox. Got some people on Fox 5. Just doing PR. But it, I just fell into it fell on my lap, the whole film. So I've transitioned into film production.
So I mean, because we are a show, and
Yeah.
so if you know
I was about to say that.
any of those people who you were like representing, you can always send them my way.
Okay.
Network. I would love to interview a chef.
right.
We've never had a chef on here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
just a thought.
Just think
Yeah.
about
Former
think
PR
about
person.
the small people.
Yeah, but it didn't fulfill me as much as it did. But working with the youth has always been there. That's that's my calling. I can't run away. I tried to run away from it, and it just put me back in. My husband, he's the one that's like, you can't, this is who you are.
Yes.
So it's just and matter of fact, how can I leave this out? It started with him. At that time, we was just dating, and he was my boyfriend, and we just saw a void, and I had a whole bunch of kids that just needed something to do, and I was that outlet, at my church at the time, who would just take these kids on trips and just talk to them when they were having family issues. Their parents would call me to their house.
Wow.
To light off the fire, to dim down the fire a little bit. So I was really, really, really deep involved, and I'm like, all right, let me take this to a whole nother level. So every summer since 2012, I was taking them to Donny Park. We would just go to Eisenhower Park and just hang out. Then I started doing this whole talking to these young girls, because I saw them kind of going left a little bit, and pulling. Oh man, these girls have some real issues, and a lot of them stem with home. It stems with home. So.
So we're gonna have to come out. We're gonna have to come out there and talk to you guys, and maybe talk to some of the kids and kind of get in.
See what they got out of the whole.
Yeah, we like to come places, and we'll bring our cameras and we'll
That's
we'll
a
have
great idea.
we'll have a session, and maybe
Make them feel that'll make them feel
connected.
Yeah, what are you getting out of the program and this and that, and we could think of something creative to kind of highlight what it is that you're doing, because it's good for us to talk about it here, but I want people to actually see it in action, so they'll go, oh, I want to send my or I want to donate, or I want to whatever it is.
Yes.
But this is non-for-profit.
Right.
Yes,
for the most part.
this is all non-for-profit, and I think it's important for people in the community to create their own programming, because we know, within the public school system, they do have extracurricular activities, but I think when people in the community create it, they infuse it with a certain soul, so to speak, that can touch the children in a way that being in a after-school club cannot. Right? There's something different about it. And parents were really clamoring to find extracurricular activities for their children. And I'm so glad that Soledad also works with boys. And we should talk about doing I guess we call it Long Island Guy Talk. I don't know, but something for the young men, because they need it as well. And that lack of diversity is not just in terms of women, but it's in terms of people in color, of color in the industry.
No doubt.
We often are unaware of it because we see people in front of the camera, but behind the camera, it's almost all lily white and male still. Very few women, in the technical positions, in positions of power. So we're trying to encourage girls of color, people of color, to get into those decision-making roles. You have decision-making power with your show. That's where we all need to be going, where we have the final say over the content. And that way we can control our representation as a people. We've never been allowed to do that. That was stolen from us at the time of slavery. They created a false identity for people of color, and that has persisted even up until this day. It might no longer be that identity of slave, but it's that identity of the thug, or the video girl, or the welfare recipient, or the drug addict. Right? That's because we're not controlling those images.
We're not controlling them.
Right. So we need to get in those positions, create our own companies. I'm so glad that Tyler Perry, he's the first to open his own studio. But we do know there are many people who had that kind of money that just never went to that.
Didn't do it.
I think we want to encourage our youth to be the kind of person who would want to be independent and would want to create their own company, be owners, right? And not just employees.
Well, some of the great things some of the athletes are doing, especially LeBron James. I mean, listen, you talking about he followed everything that all of us have been complaining about what athletes don't do.
He did.
Yes, he
You
sure
can
did.
check off the list of all of the things that we've all said athletes need to do more of. And it's like he almost like looked at that list and said, I'm going to do all
right
of it.
down the list. Right.
Like he took the list of what wasn't being done and said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And it's literally done. And when he talked about when he was a child, how he was in 11 different public schools. Wow. right?
You know, it was
How
funny.
1 year,
Yeah.
1 year, him and his mom slept in like, I don't want to quote it wrong, but it was just multiple different
Right.
places,
Mm.
right? And, you know, so he comes from
That place.
humbler beginnings than me.
Mm.
I didn't grow up in the projects.
Yeah.
I, and some of those projects in Cleveland are tough.
Right.
Like,
Yes, I know.
let me tell you something about projects out of state.
Yeah.
They don't have the basic sanitation services that Brevoort projects or Soundview projects might have. You think New York is bad. Listen, they got places where the garbage ain't been picked up in weeks.
Right.
And it's just piling up.
Yeah.
Because local sanitation, everybody don't have the Department of
You're
Sanitation
right. That's
Right
very
there,
true.
Philly's like that too.
Yeah.
or MTA. It's still private little companies that you have to depend on, and don't let them not get paid, or some of the drivers to get
Come
pissed
pick it up,
off. They
right.
don't come pick it up.
It's even right there,
So-
and that's where all the rats start building
Oh
up.
please,
Oh, yeah.
oh please.
Infestation.
So listen. I want you to tell. I want you guys to tell everybody how they can find you. Plug your social media, your websites, or whatever. I want people to be able to find you.
Yes, you can find me on soleilmaurice.com, the
Mhm.
website, Bold Minds, Instagram and Facebook, and Soleil, SOLE, Maurice, also, that's my personal Instagram, and also Facebook as well.
And people interested in finding more out about Sisters on Fire should go to sistersonfire.com. Also for the performance, I cannot forget to say this because this is extremely important. The last performance on Sunday, February 2nd, is a fundraiser for the Ken Jenkins Memorial Scholarship Fund. And Ken Jenkins is the person who brought Africana Studies to Nassau Community College.
Wow.
And you can imagine
Nice.
40 years ago, during the 60s,
Oh.
that was not easy.
Oh,
Right.
And
in
he
Long Island.
built, right,
Right.
he built an apartment there for 40 years. He just recently, within the past 2 years, transitioned, and we've created this Memorial
Wow.
Scholarship Fund. And that box office on the last day, that Sunday at 3 p.m., that will go to his
Nice.
scholarship fund.
Nice.
So,
nice. I love stuff like that.
I just hope people come out. We really need to pack the house
Okay.
on that last day.
Okay.
And if people want more information about Long Island Girl Talk, longislandgirltalk.org.
Well, we're definitely going to
Promote it.
it
Absolutely.
here on the show on our outlet, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to put it up on our social media. I think I already posted a Sisters on Fire something on Instagram in my story on Instagram. So we're definitely going to do that. Thank you for coming.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate
having
both of
us.
you
It's so
guys.
nice to make
Thank
your
you. Yes.
acquaintance. Great to have you again.
Thank
we need
you.
to do it again. We're going to talk off air how we can. We'll talk
We have
off
good
air.
chemistry, this little girl.
Yeah. And we need to talk about some more topics. Women History Month is coming.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we need to do some things, but it's been a great conversation. And of course, my co-host with the most, Jeff
Sure.
Jones. And listen, we in the show, Conversations with Malik loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.
Peace.